Look at him, he's getting ready, Eric Hansen.
We're up against one of the biggest chiefs in chess. But we got our own big chief. Eric against Magnus. And we got the black pieces. Here we go.
Meanwhile, it is the Spanish opening, something we also call the Roy Lopez. And this is very mainline, this is very typical. We actually saw this position, until the last move, we saw this position arise plenty in the World Championship, where Magnus had the black pieces.
I think Eric played this against Duda, but this was basically how it started, and I think Eric went for this line with knight d7. Usually when you play Magnus, and you're, let's say, a significantly lower rated player, he doesn't necessarily go for the most main lines, because Magnus is always one of those players that feels confident to beat or outplay somebody, and doesn't need to use theory, doesn't need to, because theory, he might actually be worried, oh, my opponent's going to know it as well as me, right? So I'd rather play a position where we both don't know theory, because he believes in his own chess to be able to outplay.
We did see a trade of one set of pawns in the center, but now the fight still is about the middle of the board. Black's knight retreated to put some pressure on White's middle pawns, White's central pawns there, and White's knight has gone to the side, but it is looking back towards the center. So if we see another trade of pawns in the middle of the board, then White's knights are ready to pounce to great squares. So there's actually a few moves in this position. The most common move, I was about to say, is to push this pawn on the side of the board, just to push it one square further to destabilize White's knight on the left there. I'm expecting to see Eric play that, because that's the only logical follow-up to his previous move. If you push a pawn one square, you might as well continue pushing it.
Black goes for these pawn pushes. Often the bishop sits here. Bishop on b7 doesn't usually look good after d5. And knight b4 is definitely a consideration. So you might be thinking about knight b4 here. Bishop back, and then a3 by White coming up.
And Eric actually choosing the most most popular move here. And this knight move is just a disruptive move. It's just designed to drive the light squared bishop one square back and just say to White, hey, your rook and bishop are out of play.
Yeah, I like what I'm seeing here. I think a3 happens because if you don't play a3, then rook c8, knight c2, I think is annoying. Yeah. Here we go. I think it's queen b7. Or could go knight a5, but I would instinctively leave the knight here, attacking some squares in the center until it's kicked off. But like queen here, rook here, and b4. But okay, black's position is still malleable. There's b4 as a potential. I don't think you really want to give up that square. So then after this move, is it rook b8? Because I really want a rook on the c file in my head. So I'm almost thinking like rook a to b8. Yeah. Which side would I rather be right now? Well, I don't play e4 or e5, so I'd rather be exactly where I am, sitting in this chair right here, having no skin in the game. Okay, so takes knight e5, the first very committal type of decision. I don't think there's really a way that we're saving this as White, right? Like bishop, are we really playing bishop b1? That's probably a really good question. It's not insane to play bishop a2. The problem is this pawn. So if you go here, rook there. If you go here, then I think we're dropping some pawns, and I don't think you really want to give up the c file like this. So yeah, I would probably expect that this is not something that really matters too much to White. Bishop c2. Okay, so not b1. Interesting. Rook c8, I would have to imagine, is a decent move. And question is f4 coming? Unless it's very concrete, I wouldn't say that something like f4 is really in his style. It's pretty committal, and he'd only really do it if the resulting position was very concrete, I would assume. Let's say something like f4. Okay, knight has to move. Probably knight c6 at this point. Black has a relatively easy plan. Don't know if it's good, of just bishop f8 and unleashing a lot of pressure on the e-pawn. So the complexion has changed. Pawns have been captured in the center, traded off, and now the focus is pretty much all on that e-pawn. Bishop f8 to me always looks like a good move. Yeah, so this bishop b1 a2 maneuver is always on the cards. bishop b1 though is also just to get off the c file. So if white wants to use it, he can in one move. And if black ever wants to use it, the bishop's not sitting there potentially hanging in some lines. So just getting out of the way. All right, so b4 played. I mean, hey, you got firepower on the b file. It's about damn time you did something. I feel like Magnus is just going to leave it. Taking seems to help the black pieces, so you'd rather have black take that and just continue. But f4 is played, you know, pretty committal move. But if white doesn't play f4 and black's just going like this, then it feels like black's actually getting stuff done here. And yeah, I guess this makes sense. Right? You've sort of got a plan, stick to it. If rook a1, knight takes f4, are you guys serious right now? Do you think that the current world champion is going to see queen b2 and bust out rook a1 to defend the fucking a pawn? Really? This is what you guys are analyzing? Rook to a1. Oh my goodness. It's worse than I thought in here. We have a move, rook b1. Well, after knight takes f4 now, I imagine there's some genius queen move, queen f1 or something. Queen f2 would still be not great. But queen f1, queen c3. Is this playable? Hang on, is queen c3 playable? Because if bishop f4, we take this, and if queen f4, we take this. So if knight f4, I mean, there's nothing to calculate here because you're just winning. And queen f3, I suppose, is the other important one. And then queen c3. So basically, no matter where the queen goes, you play queen c3 and you hit the bishop, and you hit the knight. Rage. I mean, knight f4 is on the board. Knight f4 is on the board, and he knows queen c3 is the next move. I'm curious what the flying hell Buddy Magnus is going to pull out of his hat here, because the bluff has been called. Yeah, bishop b5. Okay, well, black's definitely better. You know, even just retreating the knight somewhere. Black's also got this hanging, and this bishop is defended. Knight g6, yeah. So this is what I thought. It controls e5, and the knight's covering d7. So we jumped in, we took a pawn, and we got out. So the thing about this position is, you know, this rook is tethered to the bishop's tethered to the knight, this pawn is hanging, and white doesn't, to me, have any serious active threats. So it's a very strong pawn that we have. What? No, is he trolling? Did he just play bishop? Why does it say 1? Is he trolling? Magnus just played bishop a4 and that's it. GG. Can someone confirm that? This is a little too stupid.
Wow, what has just happened there? Magnus plays bishop takes pawn.
Whoa!
He's completely hallucinated. Magnus just lost a piece for free. And has he given up?
He has given up!
Wow.
He has resigned!
Oh my goodness. Misclicks happen. Or not, misclick, slip, brain slip, whatever it is. It happens. But hey, we deserve those. It was a great game. Knight f4. Magnus missed a little tactic earlier. And we definitely take those. Magnus is the GOAT, but there's a new big chief in town.
And Magnus, we were following your game against Erik Hansen. Can we ask what happened at the end there? Was it a mouse slip? Was it just a hallucination?
No, I mean, rook b1 was insane. Like, I'd calculated some long lines there when he takes the a3 pawn, which they don't even work, which I'd seen, but I thought, whatever, I'll try it. Yeah, I just hallucinated. No, I didn't hallucinate. I just missed that you can go to c3 with the queen, and then both d3 and d4 attacked. And yeah, I don't know even why I clicked on his a4 pawn, but I certainly didn't realize that I'd clicked my my bishop first, which is unfortunate. Yeah, obviously I didn't intend to take the pawn on a4, but my position was bad. But in general, I would be able to save the game there a fair amount of the time at least. But of course, I was considerably worse.
And Eric beating the world champion with black. How did you celebrate? We saw you run off the camera as soon as that game finished.
Yeah, that was obviously it was a little anticlimactic with bishop takes a4 in the end. But overall, I was pretty happy because I was doing very well at that point, and I was feeling it was a very easy position to play. I think just Magnus made a couple. I mean, he's obviously not in his best shape right now, and he just made a couple lazy moves in the opening with white, and it got bad real fast.
And how are all your chessbrah fans sort of reacting to your performance in the tournament and beating Magnus and just being on a roll?
I heard there's good energy there, and there's been a good turnout. So it has been pretty cool because a lot of our viewers haven't seen me have good chess results before. So it's probably a new feeling. It's been a few years since I had a decent run at a tournament.